In the Black Phone, when Infinity Blake is kidnapped and trapped in his soundproof basement, he's led on to this mysterious black phone that has the voices of those that were once in his place. And welcome Cinema, where we focus on film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the Black Phone. Was it good? Was it bad? Or somewhere right in the middle? Or if you're waiting for this review and not going to see it or not. And taking it into positive, going into the Black Phone, you're already set up with an unsettling situation about kidnapping, which already just establishes the horrific type of realm where you're getting the loss of kids, not knowing where they are. It sets up with a great prologue with a previous kid that is being kidnapped after a baseball game, and there's a connection with what leads on to our main character, played by Mason Thames, which is really excellent early on in his career, just looking and playing the part as he feels like he should. There's a sense of terror, and you feel the empathy and terror behind where he is headed once you're leading onto the basement. There's a bit of establishment and exposition to the story where you're getting his sister just as well, played by Madeline McGrath, that also has these dreams that sort of show and foreshadow the future of what things could happen, giving hints on bad things that will happen, that is connected to the things of her mother just as well. And so the way you're following about that, alongside the abusive and alcoholic father, creates this unsettling environment that also has the staples, as this is based on a short story by Joe Hill, and it's established well, extended pretty predictably, in the way you're creating this whole diverse story with different characters that is kept minimally, and the soundtrack is really well done, with Ethan Hawke playing the grabber, who is the kidnapper taking them into the basement, and the basement environment is just perfect within the setting, all of the different places you're going about. It's kept minimal within where you're taking, which kind of keeps you feeling trapped within what you're going about. You're having parts of the detective story, parts of the question of if this young girl, Madeline McGraw's character, is actually having these dreams. We ourselves are getting to see it, so we don't have the question, but there's still that mystery element behind her and also what the grabber is up to that enhances the environment along the way. Then we get onto the Black Phone just as well, which has the voices of people that were once in his place that are now dead. That becomes an interesting element to follow in about throughout the story and try and guess where it's headed. It comes at convenient timings of what he needs to do in order to escape that trapped basement environment, while Ethan Hawke is playing that grabber that really isolates everyone. Questions of if someone's upstairs, if there's a exact place that he can get help from, and how that all escalates and unravels the situation as a whole, just becomes a compelling point to build up the story off the grounded base that works itself in. Which takes me into the mix elements. If you're looking for a lot of explanations behind some of the supernatural things about like the sister's dreams, everything that works within that, you won't be getting any of that. Any connections with proper motivation behind why the grabber is doing what he is doing, but it's still the ounce of where you're looking at things that are happening that could happen in real life, and that's where the horror and terrifying aspects come in. But there's also some things about the whole story that just could feel a little long for some. It could just remove you. You don't have to read the short story in order to understand what is going on here. And because it's being based on a true story, a short story, it is stretched on too long in some sense to what you're viewing as just the short picture that it should have been. But following about that, there's something that's very intriguing, but also could be a disconnect because all of the new elements or certain changes of events they occurred throughout this. I read that short story few years ago, but being able to diversify it with what this film is offering as a whole, it just brings about a compelling argument of what things look really good on their own terms, really unique, and added for the sake of the story, but also could be a turnoff for others. And taking it into the negatives, unfortunately, I feel there's certain aspects of the story that just really draw this film out. The added elements, the sense of dryness in certain elements. It's not necessarily a bland film. It's not necessarily a bad film. By all the unique elements that intrigues the story forward, but there's also certain aspects of the horror that even though it's not at its highest heights, I know that's a grounded film, so you're not expecting all of these big monsters, things that are going about. What we're getting out of the Grabber character, he appears now and then, but there are certain moments where he's just sitting down in a chair, waiting for things to happen, and there's not quite enough action to get the ball running, get me intrigued and enticed to see how sinister he really is. And that really waters down once we do get some great performances from Ethan Hawke. It seems just really good, and wanting more of that could have really enhanced the story, could have enhanced the experience as a whole, keep things moving along with action, because Ethan Hawke certainly has the chops to be able to do that, to be able to express himself, and that's what we do get out of him, but to a very minimal extent that otherwise I feel there was a lot of breaks within the story that they could have otherwise brought more involvement, more of the Grabber into it, that otherwise just feels like a little bit of a letdown because of the ways we go about with all those details, all those plots, and also things about with the Black Phone itself. It feels a little convenient at times where you have to suspend your disbelief of when those people are calling Mason Thames' character on the phone, that it's most typically always just after the main guy leaves, the Grabber, and everything that goes about that just feels a little too convenient until the story needs it to happen. Just the timing of that and how frequently the Grabber tends to visit downstairs just becomes a little bit of an incident along the way. So that's just my personal thoughts on the Black Phone, which I have to rate a simply 6.5 out of 10. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the Black Phone. Is it good, is it bad, or somewhere right in the middle? Or if you're waiting for this review and now going to see this film or not, and make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already to join in film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. So that's just all, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.